Hey guys, how you doing today? You know, it's funny, I get a lot of people that ask me, Pepe, how did you get your cacao plant started? And I always tell them, look, I grew it from a seed, and it was actually quite a lot of fun, and I've done it for many years. And I want to go into a little more detail. I have a previous video about this exact topic, but I want to today just touch on a very important part of the process, and that is obtaining a cacao pod, how to know when it's a good one, and how to properly clean and plant the seed. So we're just about to get started, and I want to ask you guys, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell, so this way you get all the updates on the future videos that come out. So your cacao pod basically looks like this. It could be a real dark colored one like this one. It could be a yellowish one, or it could be a combination of a kind of a yellow with a little bit of an orange and a little tinge of brown, because you have 3 different types of cacao pods. And I'll write down the names at the bottom. You have Forastero, you have Trinitario, and you have Criollo. But this is not about that. This is about the seeds. So what you do is, number 1, need to obtain a fresh cacao pod if you want the best results. So here's how you do that. If you're near a tropical area or a subtropical area, a lot of times the farmer's market, you have the exotic fruit people, and you can ask them if they could get some exotic fruit like cacao, and a lot of times they can. So reach out to your local farmer's market and see if they can help you. In Florida, there's quite a few people, and in South Florida at the Yellow Green Farmer's Market, there is Maria Corona Produce. And she's a great lady. They have a great selection of produce. And Maria Corona at the Yellow Green Farmers Market can get you some of these. This particular one came from... Should I leave that in the video? Yeah, why not? This particular one came from Ecuador. And I just got it a week ago at the market on a Sunday morning. I got there real early because these things can tend to go fast, because everyone's looking for seed. So I got there, but you know what? I brought it home and I was busy. I didn't have any time to go ahead and immediately plant it. And it was already about a week since it was harvested. And I was a little worried that it might not be good, that it might be kind of moldy and nasty inside. So, you know, I said to myself, yeah, but this is Maria and she brings good stuff. So I didn't worry too much. But then I realized it's gonna be a week before I can do this. So I decided to take the pod before I opened it, and I just put it in a plastic Ziploc bag, and I put it in the vegetable part of the refrigerator. And it's literally been there 1 week, and then today I opened it up, and it looks beautiful. It looks really nice. So let me describe this for you guys. What you have here is, you see they have this part, and I can pull it out completely, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to pull out the individual fruits. This is the stuff that you can eat. This stuff's delicious. This has like a citrusy flavor, and it's really nice. And it's really nice to put it in the refrigerator and let it get cold and then do this. It tastes really good. But here's the problem. Once you get started and you want to get the seed ready, and I'll set up some close-ups later, and you want to get the seed ready to clean, like you got to have it nice and clean like this, you've got to get into this part of the flesh, and it's so slippery, and then you have to kind of break it and get in there and clean it. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go into an exact close-up of how you clean this seed. It's a real pain in the butt, but there's a little trick. So stay with me, because I'm going to show you how to do this real easy. Okay, so I'm coming in for a really good close-up, and what I want to show you is that when you try to clean these seeds, let's move this out of the way. When you try to clean these seeds, you end up with extremely slippery, and this thing can fly right out of my hands. And you know, you tend to mess around here, and you're careful, and you kind of like start to push with your nail, and you can push harder and harder, and you can push harder, and it'll take you forever. So the easiest way to do this is to really dig in, but not dig in too deep. And the only way you're going to learn how to do this is to actually do it, because you can watch this all day long, and unless your little fingers get in there and feel what I'm talking about, you're never going to understand it. So I'll try to explain, but you got to try this, okay? Go in with your nail in the center and push hard enough, but not that hard, so that you can scrape you feel like a little scraping sensation because you're hitting that seed. And by the way, the seed's got lots of cracks in it, and if you go too deep, you'll actually destroy the seed. So what you want to do is you want to push down, and then when you grab a little piece of, see, I think you can see that, when you actually see, without pulling any brown out, because if you pull brown, then, see, I already pulled a little bit of brown. I pushed a little bit too hard. Okay, so you got to push down hard, but not that hard. And if you take a little, it's okay, but you don't want to mangle that seed completely. So now I'm going to continue, but now that I have an edge, I'm going to just work on the edge of the flesh, see? And now the flesh starts to come off a little bit easier, see? Look. Now we're getting there, see? It's coming off. And when you've got 40 or 50 of these inside the pod, it can take a while. So here we go, we're cleaning it around, and I'm going kind of slow right now, and I'm going to be real careful here and here because the little seed root is right at one of the ends. I'm going to come up back over here, and this is where the seed root may already be protruding slightly, so I have to be real gentle here, real careful. You don't want to mess that up, and there it is. Okay, so this seed root, the radical, is already ready to go. It's right there on the edge. And now I'm going to come back and show you, once the seeds are cleaned up, 2 different ways that you can plant them. Okay, I'm almost done. I've got it off, and let's see how much damage I did. We'll put it in a little bit of water here, just to kind of rinse it a little bit. And I'm not going to wait. I'm going to do something with these right away. I'm not going to leave these sitting around somewhere, okay? So I did crack a little bit on the side, but it's not terrible. This should be fine. And you can see right there the radical, which is the little root that begins the process of life with your cacao plant. All right, so we have our seeds ready to go here, and we have a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can plant these seeds. All right, so we're ready to go. I've got about a dozen seeds cleaned up. As I showed you earlier, a lot of them already have the root emerging. And I'm going to show you first the way you would plant it if you were going to put them in a container and then have them outside in a semi-shady but bright location. So here's what you're going to do, okay? You've got your potting soil, you've got a small 1-gallon pot, or maybe a little bit smaller, but try to get one that's at least, 7 or 8 inches deep, okay? Now you can put 2 seeds per pot if you like, by putting them out along the edges of the pot. So you could do maybe 1, 2, 3, and then they're going to grow out here on the edges. And then when it's time to divide them up and they're well rooted, you can kind of just cut through the soil and separate them that way. That's a good way to do it. And I think I'll do that right now. Now, one thing you don't want to do is push the seed too deep. So you want the radical downwards. So I'm going to put one back here and push down. My soil has already been watered, so I'm not going to water my soil. Push down, and I'm going to leave just a little bit of the seed exposed on the surface. Just a little, okay? Go down there and just leave. When I say the top of the seed exposed, what I mean by that is just a little bit. All you want to see is a little bit of the brown on the top. Okay, you don't want to cover it up with a bunch of soil. You just want to see a little bit of the brown on the top. Okay? And it's important that you use a good potting soil, like I already said, probably 10 times. Important to use potting soil. Good quality, well draining, but keep it moist. It has to be nice and moist. Now, you can also use coconut fiber. You can use cocoa coir, something like that. Be careful with coconut fiber, cocoa coir, because it can get really, really, really wet. Okay? So if you're in the middle of the rainy season where you live and it's raining like hell every day, maybe that's not the best choice. A good draining potting soil, but you want to keep your container moist. All right, now I'm going to show you the second method that you can use indoors in your house. Instead of planting them in a container with soil, you can just simply use this method. You'll probably need to get yourself a heating mat, a simple little electric heating mat that's used for seeds. It helps a lot. Okay, so this is the way you would do it if you don't have the time necessarily to get soil and get everything going, and you're planning to do that in about a week or so. Maybe, yeah, about a week or so, week and a half, because you don't want to leave it in this stage too long, because the longer you leave it in here, the higher the chance that the root's going to get too far exposed, and then when you plant it, it's not going to do very well. So what I've done is, very important, I cleaned my hands thoroughly with soap and water, and I also rinsed off these seeds. These seeds were kind of getting dirty from falling on the ground and everything, and I want my seeds to be nice and clean. All right, I also would sometimes, I'll use a little hydrogen peroxide with water and disinfect it, but I find it's really not necessary. But if I was kind of really worried about it, I would have done that, but I've done it enough times without doing that, and the germination rate is very good. All I have here is a plastic container, and this is a heavy duty one that snaps tight and it seals everything in, and that's not really what you want to use. But if it's all you have available, like I have in this particular case, I want to show you that you can still use it, but don't close it down like this. Don't shut it down and clamp it in. You do want to have some air in there. You want some oxygen, so you want to leave it, just in this case, I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, so I'm not going to clamp it down shut. It's very important. This is my wife's. If she finds out I'm using this, she's going to cut my neck. Okay, what I would do with these, I would use them, clamp it down, but I would have drilled some holes for some air. So if you have this type and your wife is cool and she's okay if you drill holes in it, by all means, knock yourself out. Me, I'd be dead. So I'm just going to use these things, and I'm not going to clamp it down shut, okay? Because I don't want this to go stagnant and not get any air, okay? Now, so I'll open it up, and I have regular tissue paper that's already moistened with plain tap water, and I have another container with another bit of water moistened towelette here. So I have two of them, okay? And I'm just going to take some seeds, and I'm going to lay them down here like this, just scatter them, no big deal. Actually, there's about a dozen of them, but I'm going to spread them out a little bit. Bring them out, spread them out, put them in a kind of a bit of a more uniformed pattern. Okay, you can go symmetrical, asymmetrical, whatever you guys want to do, whatever you ladies want to do. But get your seeds in there, and then go ahead and cover them with another sheet. Sure, you've seen this done all over the internet, but I wanted to show you again and give you a little more detail, a little more explanation of why you do certain things. Cover it up, don't lock it, okay, unless you're going to drill holes in it, and then go ahead and simply place this in a room in the house. Doesn't have to be dark or anything, but it shouldn't be direct sunlight. No, it's not a good idea, direct sunlight. Just a regular place in the house where there's not any incredible amount of heat and there's not any incredible amount of direct sunlight, or not too dark either. And then place this on the heating mat, and you can see it's opened. There'll be air, and then just keep an eye on it. Come back in about 2-3 days. Carefully lift up the paper, and you'll watch the magic happen, because that little radical, that little root, will continue to grow. Now, once that root is exposed, oh, I would say maybe like less than a 1/4 inch of the root, you go back out and you plant your seeds the same way that I had shown you before. Okay, so tucked right next to my container grown Emperor lychee, which by the way is loaded with little fruit, is my cacao number 1 and my cacao number 2. And when I move this guy out of the way, these two guys here are going to be, oh, they're about 3.5 feet apart. I know that's awful close, but I have to do it this way because I don't have a lot of room. And as I build this edible food forest in the backyard over the next coming years, I need to make the maximum use of this space. I also have above these coconut palms that provide some shade, and then over here on my left I have a carambola tree that I'm not going to trim because I want it to grow to provide some more shade over here because it gets pretty hot and pretty sunny. So in a way, I'm giving these guys a little bit of stress, which is really not good for them, but I'm toughening them up and I'm going to get this carambola by the end of, I would say about 2-3 months. By the end of the summer probably, it's going to give me plenty of shade here where I need it. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for stopping by. If you liked the video, once again, give us a thumbs up. And by the way, you might want to subscribe to our channel and maybe even share the video. Thanks again. Have a great one.